Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I need you to help me out here in the comments, because I've made this video on this particular creature that I found, well, more than one, there's three, in my smaller tank, Teddy's small tank in the garage. And I'm trying to identify it. I think it's a flatworm, but I'll put the footage up here so you can see. And I've based the whole video on it, but if I'm completely wrong and it's something different, then please let me know down in the comments. So if you've ever spotted this tiny little transparent worm-like creature slowly making its way, gliding across the glass, at this point, should we panic? As fish keepers, when we first see them, we're wondering, well, are they dangerous? Are they parasites? Or maybe even are they sort of baby snails? Well, in this video, I'm going to sort of break down what I think it is, and I want you to let me know if I'm completely off the mark down in the comments. So, here goes. So here's a close-up, still, and then the video of the creature. And from its shape, its transparency, and the way it's very sort of flat against the glass, it looks to me, and what I've researched, as its technical name is a planaria, or a flatworm. So this is basically how we identify it. First, they move very, very slowly, in slow motion almost, like they're floating across the glass. Their body is soft, flat, transparent, and have a sort of little arrow-shaped head and at one end. And if you look closely, sometimes you can actually spot two tiny black eyes. That it gives them sort of the classic look that you identify them as planaria. Now, if you can see a little shell, we might be talking about some baby snails, but I would say this one is, or the three that you can see are planaria. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Now, you might be wondering, why have you got little flatworms in your tank, which led to this whole video really. And it's something that can happen in a well-planted natural tank with thick substrate that you leave naturally, so it hasn't been cleaned for a while, you haven't had your little hoover in it cleaning it out. It's basically, you've let the substrate do the job for you. And surprisingly, they come from seemingly nothing, through excess feeding and debris. It's just one of nature's natural cleanup crew, if you like, because they do help eat the debris and the algae and things like that. And for some species of fish, they can actually be food for them. They are very tough and can replicate very quickly, and they're adaptable to water conditions. So once they make it and settle down and start feeding on whatever's available, they're quite hard to control, because they can, like I say, replicate very quickly. So if you spotted one or two or three in my case, it's nothing unusual for a natural dirted tank. Arguably, you could say my son Teddy, he doesn't like to think of his fish going hungry, so he can sometimes overfeed them too often, and we've cut that way down to once a week, which is adequate for the tiny fish that are in there, because they can also feed off the plants and the algae. So are they good or bad for your tank? Well, they are part of nature's cleanup crew. They'll eat leftover food, decaying plant matter and waste from the fish. So in small numbers, they're actually a helpful part of recycling nutrients in the aquarium ecosystem. They're not so good size if the populations explode and become unsightly all over the glass and everything, the plants in the tank. If you've got a shrimp tank, large numbers are bothersome for your shrimp, and they can prey on shrimp fry, and also your tiny fish fry as well. It could be a food source for them. So a small part of planaria is no big deal really, but lots of planaria is a bit of a problem you may want to address by trying to clean them out and do a partial water change, trying to hoover them out or something. They don't just multiply for no reason, and the big trigger is overfeeding. So cut back on your overfeeding. Don't feed them as often, because the fish only have a tiny stomach and they don't eat everything you feed them. So watch as you're feeding them. When they sort of stop feeding, you can kind of gauge how much to give them. Because they've only got tiny stomachs, they don't always go for all the food. And a lot of times fish eat other fish's feces as well, because there's still nutrients in there. So you don't need half as much as what the pet shops or the pet food companies tell you need, because they're only interested in selling more product. So yeah, they are nature's little garbage collectors, and if you give them more things to feed on, then they'll obviously recruit more garbage collectors by multiplying. So the simplest way to keep them under control is to feed them less. You can get some fish species that will help keep them down by eating them, and yeah, or you could go for the clean up yourself and get rid of them manually. But the easiest way is don't feed your fish as often as you might be doing. Once a week is adequate for tiny little fish like this. If they're slightly, if they're bigger fish, then twice a week. Let me know if you think I'm wrong on that, but that's what I'm doing, and I'm very much of the opinion that these pet food places only want to sell their products, so they tell you need to feed them much more often than you actually need to, which can lead to health problems with the fish, as in humans. If we eat too much food and the wrong kind of food, we get health problems. The types of fish that you could stock are beaters, guppies, loaches, weather loaches, and that's good. Weather loaches are particularly good temporarily in cold water tanks, because they don't need a heater, but they will get big, so you need to move them to a bigger tank or into your pond. But if you have a tropical tank and you have this problem, then guppies are good, and mollies are good feeders. The white mountain minnows that I've got in that tank at the moment, it's a little bit too difficult for them to have a go at it, which you can read a little bit about that in the community post that's in the link up there. Chemical treatments. Now, I'm all for the natural way. You can see the natural tank behind me, and the plants have just exploded. You can see the thickness of the substrate, and I'm all for like minimal cleaning or water changes, because it's a natural environment I'm creating. So I don't like using any kind of chemical treatments to keep these flatworms down, basically. I'd rather manually remove them, or get some kind of fish that can help me control the numbers. If you want to go down the chemical route, there's a product called No Planaria, or other medications called I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but it's called fenbendazole. Fenbendazole. Anyway, I would never use it. I don't like chemicals of any sort. I'm natural all day long. But yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's only a short video on this unusual little nature's phenomenon when you overfeed and have too much waste debris at the bottom of your tank. But equally, your substrate will deal with that. It will rot down and disperse into the sand and become part of its own little ecosystem going on at the very bottom of your substrate. So it's not such a bad thing. Just watch the numbers. Hope you like the video. Give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.